So the Swedish Research Council is the largest governmental funding body in Sweden. And we support research of the highest quality in all different scientific fields. We are also advisors to the government on research policy issues. And every year we pay out almost 7 billion Swedish crowns. We work to increase the understanding of long-term societal benefits of research. But the Council also has the national responsibility to coordinate communication about research and research results. So it is written in the instruction from the government. So science communication is one of the core activities at the Council. And my name is Maria Fleetwood. I am Senior Advisor for External Relations. And every time when I leave Stockholm and then I get back, this is the sign that is when you re-enter Stockholm, and it says, Stockholm, the capital of Scandinavia. I think that's very cocky. And I think also that Swedes are very modest. So then I was sort of thinking, is this good to build a relationship with our neighbors? I'm not really sure. But I wanted to be a little bit cocky myself, because when I was invited to speak here today, I was starting to think about what makes Swedes special? Do we have anything special that we do in science communication? And we do, actually. And the first and the most important, I think, is that it's in the law. The Swedish Higher Education Act says that researchers are required to share the knowledge with the public. The other one that I think is also special is that the European barometer shows that in average, this is not the latest figures, but I talked to my colleagues and they don't think it had changed that much. So in average in Europe, 53 of the Europeans are interested in science and technology, and 40% feel that they are informed what is going on. But actually Sweden is best in class here. 77% of Swedes are interested in science communication, and 61% feel they are informed. So I think this is a very good foundation for us working in science communication field in Sweden. We have a strategy at the Council where we have different strategic approaches. We try to facilitate and inspire researchers to succeed in the communication. We work on training postgraduates. We train our ERC for those who are going down to Brussels. And we provide all different kinds of support and coaching to the scientists how to communicate. The other one, rewarding communication and cooperation. This is something that I think we all know is very difficult, and we try to find a way. It is an ongoing work in Stockholm. We stimulate initiatives that promote and contribute to communication and research. We operate a lot of channels. I will show you some of them. And we also are in a process where we are developing a national declaration of intent for communication about research, a sort of strategic paper that would be used throughout Sweden. And then we monitor international developments, and part of that is that I'm being here today. I know that the Estonian Research Council recently came up with a definition on science communication, we have chosen to say that we had 3 perspectives on science communication. The first one is information, the other one is dialogue, and the third one is participation. The first one is what is called the deficit model, that people are not acting or not believing what science, the results from science, because there is a lack of information. I think this is a wrong way to go. I don't think we have to inform the public more. I do not understand Estonian, but I saw some science here about, for example, vaccination and the Earth being flat. And I don't think that we can reach those people by informing them more. So I think this deficit model is dead. Of course, we still need to send out press releases and so on, but more information cannot be the only solution to come through with research results. I think we should move more to dialogue and to participation. And the third sort of perspective is the citizen science included. And I think that I saw some slides about birds, and I think this was something about a citizen science project. So the landscape in Sweden is that we have higher education institutions, we have business and research institutes, and quite a lot of funding bodies in Sweden. Then we have academia and bridge builders, and then we have the governmental research funding bodies. And that's us in the middle with the national coordination of the communication about those research. I wanted just to show you a few examples, a handful of examples what we do in Sweden in science communication. We do have a similar conference as you. It's called Forum for Science Communication. We have about 450 delegates every year, and it has been growing over the years. And we have international experts and researchers within the field. We do a lot of public conversation. Something new that we're doing is that we have started to collaborate with Nobel Calling. Nobel Calling is going on that week when the Nobel Prize are announcing the winners. So then a lot of things are happening in Stockholm and all over Sweden. And this year we started a collaboration, and we had some conversation and some conferences together with Nobel Calling. We are quite active in Researchers' Night. You do have Researchers' Night in Estonia too, yes, sir. And what we do within one part of what we do in Researchers' Night is that we have those Researchers' Grand Prix where scientists had to present their research in just 4 minutes. And the winner from each sort of local competition then is then invited to come to Stockholm and to the grand finale. And this has shown to be very successful. I know that you have Rocket 69, which also is successful on television, but it has shown that the winner has really sort of enjoyed being at the contest, but also really had sort of could use the knowledge that they learned from being in the competition with further on in their work as researchers. And last year, actually, because this is also filmed, and last year it was also sent on Christmas Eve, the grand finale. And now we have also developed webinars, so everyone who is a researcher can go in and see very short films where you get very good tips on how you can present and what you should think about when you present your research. At the Council, we have a lot of channels. I will talk briefly about 3, and none of them are actually that we say that it's our channel. The first one is Curie. This is for scientists themselves. They are writing about policy, research policy. This used to be 5 different printed magazines, and a few years ago we closed those down and we opened a digital channel. Then we have a national web portal that is called forskning.se. And the third one that we have is a little bit special because it's a service to journalists. So you can actually write into the network and saying, as a journalist, I'm looking for a scientist in gray weather, like outside today. And then the network, which is press officers around Stockholm and all over Sweden at the universities, can then give tips on the scientists that they have that are good in the scientific field, like autumn weather, winter weather, or whatever is going on. And this has been a very successful service that we have. But the journalists like it. I mean, if they need someone really fast, then they're going to pick up the phone and call. But if they want to see who is active actually in this field, then they use this service, Expertsvar. So in Sweden, we have also tried to sort of make the connection with science communication and public engagement as a part of doing open science. So if the umbrella of open science is here, we have sort of tried to connect it that public engagement and science communication is part of it. This year we have conducted a huge survey. We sent out 20,000 of questionnaires, and we got almost 4,000 answers, which is 20%, and this is usually what you get. And the first question that we asked the researchers, so it was sent out to all universities in Sweden and to the scientists. The first question that we asked was, have you heard of the term open science? And, well, yes, 62% said that they've heard about it. I don't know, I have no comment on that one. The following question was what they think about or what they connect it or associate it with. And not surprisingly, most connected or associated with open access. Do you think you would have the same answer in Estonia? That the scientists are sort of associated with open access? Yeah. What we see here is that public engagement and citizen science is much further down. Then we asked we asked them about the personal views and if sort of how they think that it's going to affect themselves. And then we could see that very few said that this is only positive. Mostly, there are sort of split visions here. Well, most of them could go so far as to say that the benefits of open science are greater than the drawbacks. Then we asked them about the transition to open science and how they thought this would affect their work. And almost 30% said it would be more difficult, and about 30% said nor easier or more difficult. So this is also the community, the scientific community is split in those questions. Then the major part was about attitudes, about communication and science communication. And here we can see that almost 60% was very positive. And together with those who are fairly positive, it's a very high figure. And I think that those on the bottom, we can forget them. There are scientists that are never going to leave the room. They don't have to. But there is a lot of people, a lot of scientists that are really, really positive and are positive to do science communication. And then we asked them about the personal attitudes. And here we can also see that they are very positive, and those who are negative are very, very few scientists. We also asked them which group they were interested in to do science communication or to communicate or have a dialogue with. And here we have almost 70% said as the favorite group, target group would be policymakers and politicians. And after that come the general public. But then when you ask them who they actually interacted with, then you can see that policymakers and politicians was very low. And I think that most of us working in science communication know that it's difficult to work with policymakers and politicians. We want to, but it's difficult. Then we asked them what they have done, what sort of activities they have done in the past 12 months. And most of them then had sort of participated or given an open lecture. They had written popular scientific web-based material. And I think that this is not specific for Sweden. I think this is how it probably look across Europe, that open lectures are the activity that scientists are most involved in. Also, if you see the difference between the disciplines, it's the humanities and the social science or scientists in those fields that are doing more science communication than their colleagues in, for example, natural science. Then we asked them what the biggest barriers they are facing when they are communicating the research results. And we asked them to pick 3 obstacles. And the majority, 64%, said that it's too many other tasks with higher priority. Then came lack of allocated resources for communication work. Surprisingly, and very good news for us working with science communication, is that they find it difficult to find opportunities to do science communication, to talk about the research. And I think this is a great opportunity for us who are working in the field. We have to supply them, we have to create more channels, more opportunities, more arenas, because they want more. And then they had not highly valued for promotion or recruitment at the council. This is not something that we can do about. This is a question for the universities. Not highly valued in funding applications. This we could do something about, and we are looking into it. So then we asked them how well equipped they feel or felt when they are communicating with the outside world, outside academia. And here you can see that they don't feel very well equipped. And interesting also is, and I think this we should take a note of, that the female scientists feel less equipped than the male. And this is also supported by other reports that has been conducted. For example, when one study that was asking when a scientist, if there is a female or a male, get the question to do science communication, to be on TV, or to answer as an expert on the radio or by a newspaper, the male scientist always gave their own name or male colleagues. But when female scientists were asked, then they mostly gave a male colleague's name. So, I mean, this is something that I think it's important when you work with science communication to bear in mind that there is a difference here, and that we should also try to perhaps support women scientists a little bit more than we do today. Then we asked them if they had undertaken any course or training to communicate science. And here we have like over 50% have not had any course or any sort of training in science communication. And then we asked those who actually had some course or training. And we asked them if they feel better prepared. And here we got the answer that 70% of those who had a training felt better prepared. And I also think this is a great opportunity for us who are in science communication, that it helps when we train them, when we sort of can give them some training, some tools, some coaching, how to do an interview, how to be on Twitter or social media, or do a presentation. And this is also something that we have now started to discuss at the council, because in Sweden there are a few universities that have a course in communication at the PhD programs. I think there are like 2, probably 3 universities, but not more. So what the council now will do is to see if we can catalyze and start. We are not the one who should give the courses, but perhaps we can sort of catalyze and we can coordinate and see if we can start a movement towards that this actually communication, some sort of training or course will be part at every university at the PhD programs. Then we ask this one, and this one is a little bit problematic. How many of you are working at the university? Well, there is quite a few. So we asked them, what do you know about the kind of support that you can get from communication professionals, the communication departments at the universities, at your institution? And over half, or almost half, of them said, we have no clue, we have no idea. And I think that this is also something that can and must be improved. Would you say that this situation is the same in Estonia, that they don't really know which support they can get from the communication department?
Most people know that there is a communication.
Yeah.
That's as far as it goes.
Yeah, they know that there is, but they don't know what kind of help and support they can get. So here is space for improvement, I would say. And then we asked them if they would like to spend more or less time that they currently do to communicate their research outside academia. And slightly over half said that they would like to spend more time. 37 said that they are content with what they are doing now. And those at the bottom, I think we can forget those. So then we also asked them what could encourage them to spend more time. And they had the option to have select three options. And almost half said that specially allocated resources for the communication work. Secondly, more invitation to participate in communication activities. This is almost 30%, where we, as a SciComm community, can actually do something. We can create this, we can invite them, we can create opportunities and then invite them. I think this is really good news for us. And then, of course, again, to be valued more in promotion and recruitment, and also in funding application. But also more personal knowledge about how to do communication. So, to conclude, I would say the key findings is that the researchers want to communicate. They need support and training. Female researchers need it more than male, and they lack opportunities to communicate. This survey was done or conducted by Vetenskapen Allmänhet, which is translated into Public and Science. They are an NGO in Sweden. The council and other funding bodies are working very closely with the Public and Science. And now I'm going to change and take on the hat of this organization because they actually also conduct something that is called the VA, which stands for Vetenskapen Allmänhet, Public and Science, Barometer. And so I'm not talking from the Research Council now, but we are supporting them. So every year since 2002, they have done a national telephone survey. And they interview a lot of different people. And this is how they want to see how the trust, the confidence in science is by the public. And as you see, it's quite high, it's quite steady. I'm running out of time, and the interest is quite high in science. It's higher than in sports. and highly educated are more interested in science, and the public want to be involved in science. When they ask them which ways, then you can see that data collection, donating material, things that are connected very much with citizen science is high on this list. And the last sort of slide is, if you want to know more, this is the people that you should get in touch with. I want to end with 2 sentences, and that is that science communication is part of excellent research. Excellent research can't be without science communication. And the other sentence is that to get real impact, you need science communication. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we have also one question. And that's about if science communication is researchers' obligation, why is it not taken into account in grant applications?
Yes, very good question. Some of the financing bodies do have it, and at the time we are now sort of writing some sort of sketch how we could take it into the application. But it is tricky because we are just funding basic research. And then it's a little bit more difficult to ask those questions because this is curiosity-driven research. But we are looking into it, and this is a major question, of course, for science communication.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.